Hello, welcome back to Farmer's Wife Homestead. I'm Stacey if this is the first time we're meeting. Welcome back to my farmhouse kitchen, and today, as per requested, we are doing finger sandwiches, and we are going to be making 7 different types. Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes, 7 different types. Now, if you've been around for a while, you probably know that I used to have a catering business and a cafe, so I've done I can't even imagine how many finger sandwiches and club sandwiches I've made in my lifetime. A lot. And we tend to have them at family occasions as well. So I've got some of the favourite ones that have been popular. And if you are of around about my age, which is early 50s, I was going to say early 30s, in your dreams, Stace, and above, you will probably know some of these flavors because some of them are just really old-fashioned, and sometimes good old-fashioned sandwiches are just the bee's knees, and that's what we're going for today. So the flavors that we are going to be making is cheese and onion. Not only am I going to show you how to make all the fillings, we're going to put them together, and then we're going to put them onto a plate. And that's going to be dinner tonight. We've got leftover macaroni salad, we've got leftover sausages, and we're having sandwiches. Great, I don't have to cook. So cheese and onion, which is my family's absolute favourite, and when I say my family, I'm meaning my extended family. Club, and which you can make it 2 ways. You can do ham, egg, and lettuce, or you can just do ham and egg. I've got a tiny little bit of lettuce left, so I might be able to show you a bit of both. Beef, onion, beef sort of like an onion jam, and lettuce, cheese and pineapple, salmon and cream cheese, asparagus rolls, chicken cream cheese and apricot. And we used to do chicken cream cheese and cranberry sauce as well, but today I decided to do the apricot. So we're going to do all those flavours. Now, I have some different serving platters, which I'm just going to bring over and show you. And this is one of the reasons why I love op shopping, and I finally get to use this plate. I kept it for myself. So if you were around last year, you'll know that I picked this up at an op shop, and I struggled with knowing whether I was going to give it away at Christmas time with some baking on it as part of a gift, or whether I was going to keep it. I kept it. So I thought this would look lovely with some finger sandwiches on it. I found this at an op shop as well, which I love. The roses on it, beautiful. It almost looks like a Banksia rose, which I planted one of those last year, and I love blue, like blue everything for me. So I found this. I think it cost me like $2. It's called Out of the Blue. And it's made in England. So I thought we'll prepare the sandwiches and we'll put them on these plates. Okay, so let's get straight into it. We might start with the good old cheese and onion, and probably cheese and pineapple. So we'll get grating of the cheese, and then I'll turn my Thermomix on and we'll just use that to whiz that up. So we need cheese, some pineapple, which I used in the macaroni salad, so I've got half a pint left, so that's perfect timing, and just some fresh onion and some mayo. That's all you need. My lifelong bestie, wifey friend, just let me know that she's just gone to work and she's popped my videos on, and I'm keeping the dog company. Now, the dog, her name is Zena. Hi, Zena! Hey, Zeni! So she's got this beautiful dog who has been a family member for years, and she leaves her a playlist of one of my playlists on while she goes off to work, and I keep Zeni company. So hey, Zeni! So I said I'd give her a shout out. Anyway, it's back to grating some cheese. So I've just got my normal box grater. This is just some mild cheese. I'm not sure the equivalent of what you would have for other countries. I really struggle with grating now that my shoulder and my arm muscles are starting to give way on me. Gosh, really falling apart in my old age. Anyway, I'm going to grate up this cheese. I'm not going to give you amounts, because you know, like when you're catering, you just, depends on how many people you're catering for and stuff like that. And you can just mix and match things and stuff like that. So I will write up a blog post and give you instructions and that, but I will probably give you sort of roundabout ingredient amounts. So I'm just going to pop it into a big bowl. Alright, so that was about 1/4 of a block of cheese, which is about 250 grams, and I'm going to make this do for both the cheese and onion and the cheese and pineapple. If I was making a whole loaf, I would probably do that much for a whole loaf per, so like if I wanted to make a whole loaf of cheese and onion, I would use maybe 250 grams, but I'm not catering today, so I don't need to make, you know, 7 loaves of bread, so I'm just going to make up a few sandwiches of each flavour sort of thing. So I'm going to do half of this for the cheese and onion and half for the cheese and pineapple, and I've got a onion here, sort of on the smaller side. Now it depends on if you like it's going to be raw onion. It depends if you like really intense onion flavour or whether you want a more milder. My family enjoy the more in your face, but I am making a smaller amount, so I will just do half an onion, and the Thermomix is going to whiz this up as well, but we'll just make, actually I might make the cheese and onion this whole lot, because I might make some toasties and keep some mix in the fridge as well. So all of that, about 250 grams, is going to be making the cheese and onion. Okay, so I'm going to pop this in my Thermomix. If you've got a food processor, use your food processor. Okay, so I've got my Thermomix here, and I'm just going to pop everything into here. And what I need next is some mayonnaise. So just want like a heaped tablespoon, like it's probably, well, it's a very heaped tablespoon. Start with that, and then you're just going to whiz it up until it's all fine, sort of like all comes together. Okay, so that was about 6 seconds in the Thermomix. Let's have a look. And all you want to do is see that all the onion has been finely ground up into the cheese and that it holds its shape. That's perfect for sandwich making now. So that's, and so you can see about 250 grams made that amount. Pop it into a container, leave it out of the fridge. You want everything to sort of be room temperature when you're trying to make the the sandwiches. And I'm just going to grate up some more cheese to make up a pineapple filling as well. Okay, so again, about 250 grams of grated mild cheese, and I've got some pineapple, so that's probably, let's have a look, say about half a cup. No, it's probably around about a cup, maybe just a little bit under, but just have a play around. And it's drained. You're just going to whiz this just the same as the onion one. There's the pineapple one, which always smells so divine. And oh, there's one little chunk of pineapple that didn't dissolve. And again, you want it to sort of be holding its shape, and then that's perfect. If you find that the pineapple isn't juicy enough, because some commercial cans aren't very juicy, you could add a little bit of pineapple juice, like a tablespoon at a time or a teaspoon at a time, and just whiz it and it will come together. If worst comes to worst, you could always use mayo. Right, now I also, I usually make both of these flavours. I used to anyway when I used to do catering, and I like to put a bit of parsley, a bit of green parsley in the onion one, so that, because I cut these the same shape, so that you can tell which is the onion and which is the cheese and pineapple when you go to present them. So I'm just going to go and cut a little bit of parsley and pop finely chop it and pop it into the cheese and onion mix, just so you've got that little tad of green. The next thing, we might make the egg mix. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. There was 10, but no, there must have been about a dozen, but a few have been eaten, which is fine. So we're going to make up this egg mix next. I think I might use the, well, I usually use the masher. I think I'll just use the masher because that's what I normally do. But you're basically wanting to get all the fillings all ready at the same time, and then all you have to do is just assemble. You can put it in when you're blending it, but it just turns the mix a bit green, so I don't think it's as nice. But do make sure that it's nice and fine, probably finer than what I've done it. And that way you can tell exactly which is the pineapple flavour and which is the onion. Right, onto the eggs. So I've just hard boiled some eggs. Just going to make sure all the water's gone. Now you want to get yourself a potato masher. I've got 2 different types, but I'm going to use this one too. It's much easier to do this when it's hot, but I did these a couple of days ago now. Because I was supposed to do this video a couple of days ago, but my TN was playing up. Now I'm going to swap over to this kind of masher, and I want to add some, just a little bit of salt, some pepper, and I don't know, a heaped tablespoon of mayo to start with, and then just give it a good mince up in a mix. You want all that egg to be quite fine. A fork is good too. Just needs a little bit more mayo. Because again, you want everything holding its shape. Now, if you want, you could add a little bit of curry paste to this. You could add parsley as well. So again, you just want the filling to be holding its shape. Okay, so far we've prepped the cheese and onion, we've prepped the egg for the club. We don't need to do anything for the beef, onion and lettuce. Cheese and pineapple we've done. We don't need to do anything for the chicken, asparagus, but we need to do something for the salmon cream cheese. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my KitchenAid rather than my Thermomix, and I'm going to whip the cream cheese. So I have a block of cream cheese here. It is 225 grams. It's been out of the fridge for about an hour because you want it to be softened, easy to whip up. Now, if I was catering for a large amount of people, I would use 1 block for the salmon and 1 block for the chicken cream cheese. But as I said, I'm not catering today. I'm just going to make some sandwiches to show you guys, and we'll just eat them. So I will probably just do half of each. But I'm going to whip up the full block and then halve out the cream cheese. Alright, so just put the beater attachment on your stand mixer and then whip it up until it's not light and fluffy. You can also add like a tablespoon or a teaspoon at a time some milk, and that will help fluff it up and lighten it up as well. So I might just do that just to fluff it up a bit more, and you need to scrape it off the sides. So I've halved it, so I've got half in here and half in here. This is going to be for the chicken cream cheese. And then I've got a couple of small, these are 85 gram. I had these anyway, so that's what I'm using. I would normally use probably a bigger can. And this is smoke flavoured. I would use just normal, but it's what I've got. And I'm just going to drain. Yeah, this is definitely, you definitely want plain, but I'm just going to pop that into the salmon and just give it a really good mix. Now, just looking at that, I think I want the other can in as well, because you really want the salmon flavour to come through. And you just want a squeeze of lemon. So just a squeeze of lemon just to I mean, the smoked salmon might be quite nice actually. I mean, I've never tried it. I usually just use plain salmon. Yeah, that's better. So you just want a little crack of pepper, just a pinch of salt, and then you want to taste it and make sure that everything is good and that there's enough of a lemon flavour come through as well. Need a little bit more lemon, but that smoked flavour is actually quite nice. A couple of pips just fell through. Okay, so that one is all ready to go as well. Now let's just have a little talk about bread. Use any type of bread you like. Some sandwiches I prefer to have white, some sandwiches I prefer to have wholemeal, and some I prefer to have a little bit of grain. So the cheese and onion and the cheese and pineapple, I always love to do traditional white. Things like the chicken and the beef, I like to have a grain bread, and the likes of the asparagus rolls, I like to have a wheatmeal, which is, it's sort of like a brown, but it hasn't got chunks of grains. And yeah, but it's entirely over to you. I've got toast bread because, I don't know, sandwich bread is super thin these days, and toast bread is more like sandwich used to be. So I've just grabbed toast bread and just Coupland's brand, cheap and cheerful. It's a couple of days old now. As I said, I wanted to try and do this video a few days ago, but the bread's still fine. Alright, so let's start assembling all these sandwiches. Just quickly, I'm just going to show you the other ingredients. I'm out of caramelized onion, my own home canned. So we do have a big preserving day, a couple of days coming up. So I've just brought one that was on special. This is the asparagus spears. So you want the canned type, not the fresh type. And I just brought some dried and diced apricots for the other sandwich. I've got sliced ham and sliced roast beef and sliced chicken. Okay, let's make this first sandwich. So we've got just some plain white. I've got the cheese and pineapple. You don't need any butter because it is all going to stick together, so that's going to save you in this day and age. And you want a good helping, because that's the only flavour apart from the bread. So you want it to be nice and thick, and then you're just going to basically pop it on the top. Okay, so nice, good helping of filling, and you want to get it right to the edges. Don't be stingy. And of course, you can cut it any way you wish, but I'm going to show you the way that I like to cut it. Okay, so you've got a choice. You can now pop the sandwiches on top of each other like that, and then for these ones you can cut off. I'll show you. You can cut off, I've got a serrated bread knife, cut off the crusts, and then for me the piggies and the chickens can get the offcuts, so your choices is to do that. And then I like to make triangle size for the pineapple and cheese and the cheese and onion. Now you could have them that size, but personally I like to make them finger size, so you get 4 little sandwiches from the one piece. Okay, so that's them without the crust. That makes them more dainty if you don't have the crust. I'm just going to pop these on a plate. If you want to make them more wholesome, you know, and less wastage, cut it into triangle, turn it around, cut it again into a triangle. I'm not pressing down, so note I'm not pressing down, I'm letting the knife do the work. Okay, so that's it with the crusts on. Okay, just a little bit more extra in the actual sandwich. Okay, so there's your 2 choices. So a little bit more daintier, and then with the crusts. Alright, so there's your cheese and pineapple. Now I'm just going to make some cheese and onion, and we're going to do exactly the same thing and cut it the same way. So you can imagine you get a little bit of an assembly line going on, and they really are a crowd pleaser. Now look how quick that came together. Again, just let the knife do all the work. You can get electric knives as well, but I never bother. And then you can see the flecks of green. So you could have a separate plate, or you could pop them on the same plate. So you could also have them going this way. You can just zhuzh it up however you like. I might even get to fit them all on. Anyway, you would present it way nicer than that. So I've just popped the onion ones onto another plate, and to keep them nice and fresh, what you could do is get some Chuck's cloth, and I'll leave a little bubble up here and show you what Chuck's cloth looks like, and you wring it out and place it over top of your sandwiches, and that just keeps them from going dry, and then you can pop them in the fridge and they won't dry out in the fridge. Or you could get paper towels and make them wet, wring it out, place that over the top, but you don't want it sopping wet, because you obviously don't want to make the actual sandwiches wet, and then cover it with cling wrap. You can just use cling wrap if you would prefer, but it just needs that little bit of damp environment, and that's what I've done for years anyway. But yeah, just arrange your sandwiches all pretty on the plate. Like, I need to fill this plate up, but as I said, I'm not going to be making hundreds of little sandwiches. And then here's the pineapple ones. Okay, so this is what the whole meal looks like. So it's sort of brown, but it's not, hasn't got the grains. Now for these 2, we want to cut the crusts off. So I've just got the bread just stacked up, and we're just going to take that sharp knife and cut all the way around all the sides, and these ones are going to be rolled. Now the salmon cream cheese dip one, you can also make it exactly like the cheese and onion and the cheese and pineapple, and then cut them into triangles, or you can do it this way. So now you've got little bits of bread, and then you get your salmon dip, and then you just pop some onto the bread, again making sure that there's enough so that you can taste it, but not too much that it's just going to spill out. And then you're basically just going to take one corner and then roll it. Okay, and then that's a yummy salmon roll. Trix is barking at the little baby piggies, if you can hear her. Okay, so there's your salmon rolls. Now the asparagus rolls are, I like to put a bit of butter down. Okay, I've just taken the crusts off these ones, and then you lightly butter because you need the butter to help it all stick together for the asparagus ones. And then just grab a couple of the asparagus and then again roll them just like the salmon ones. So good, so easy, so yummy. Tell me, I know this is a Kiwi classic, I'm sure it must be in other countries. Let me know if you do these kinds of sandwiches as well, like the asparagus, finger sandwiches, all that kind of stuff. Let me know. It's as simple as that. Okay, so now you've got a plate of two different types here. Obviously I haven't, like, I wouldn't do a catering job and make it look like that. I would make it look prettier than this, but yeah, you get the idea. And that's the grain bread, so there's a few grains in this one. Okay, so we're just going to make up the next one. What one should we do? Okay, we will do the egg and ham. So you're just going to pop on some egg, and this will be the club sandwich. And then you take piece of bread and pop that on there. You get some butter and you butter this side. Just a light butter. And then I've got some ham. So if you want a triple decker club sandwich, you could put another slice of bread and then do the lettuce, or you could just do ham and egg, or you can pop lettuce on this lot here, just whatever you like. I am low on lettuce, so I am just going to use the ham and egg. And then you need butter on this side to keep the ham on the bread. And with the club, I like to usually take off the crusts. So just a light sawing motion. Okay, and then turn it, and then in half. And there you have two perfect club sandwiches. So you basically eat it. That's one sandwich and that's one. So you can imagine the green looks quite nice too, and you could also put parsley in the egg as well. So there's the club sandwiches. Obviously at the moment I'm not making up all of them. I've still got quite a lot of the mix left of all flavours, and yeah, I'm just going to pop them all into containers, pop them in the fridge, and just over the next few days we'll just be eating loads of different flavoured sandwiches. So you can just see how many sandwiches this actually makes for the little amount of ingredients that I have showed you. So we've got 2 left to go. We've got the chicken, cream cheese and apricot, and the roast beef, caramelised onion and lettuce. So let's put those 2 together. Okay, so for the chicken one, it's a double decker as well. So we've got 2 of the pieces will have butter on it, 1 without. So the one without will have a good thick layer of the cream cheese, the whipped cream cheese. Again, remembering that you want to actually taste the flavour of the cream cheese. And then you're going to grab your apricots and you're going to sprinkle a few apricots on the cream cheese. Now you could make this just a single layered sandwich if you wanted to, and you could put the cheese on, the chicken on now, but I'm actually just going to pop it on like that. Oop. And a little bit more cream cheese, smaller amount this time, but you're using the cream cheese like a butter. And I've just got some sliced chicken. And just a little bit of salt, and then the buttered edge. And these ones I'm going to leave the crust on, and these ones are going to be in a triangle. So just like the cheese and onion and cheese and pineapple. Okay, and that's your chicken, apricot. Probably could have done with a few more apricots because you can't really, you can see them, but yeah, put some more apricots on it and then you can see them a bit better. And as I said, that this one's quite nice with cranberries, and then you get that real pop of colour. Yeah. And the last one is the beef. So you just want a thin layer of butter, and this one's just a single layer. Right, I've got some lettuce. And then you want, I've just grabbed some roast beef from the supermarket, and then you want to pop your roast beef as the next layer, and then top it with that caramelised onion. Nice good bit of caramelised onion. Okay, and then that's just going to go over the top. And again, I would do this one in a triangle. There. And there's the beef, caramelised onion and lettuce flavoured. Okay, so I've just sort of popped a little bit sprig of parsley to give you that pop of green. So there's the cheese and pineapple, and then we've got the cheese and onion. Moving on to the ham, egg, and also the chicken apricot. And in the back we have the roast beef, lettuce and caramelised onion. We've got the other chicken, we've got the asparagus and the salmon rolls. So quite a spread of different finger sandwiches for you to choose from. Well, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I think these ones look extra nice with the greenery. I'm not going to taste every sandwich today. I really need to stay away from bread as much as possible because it gives me a sore guts. But just trust me that all of these flavours are tried and true and have worked for years and years in my catering business and in family occasions and things like that. They're always a big hit, but I hope that gives you some ideas. If I haven't answered any of your questions, please ask them in the comments. I've been a bit slow in getting comments, replying to comments lately, only purely because my trigeminal neuralgia has been very, very bad this week, and I'm trying to really look after myself. So yeah, if there are any questions, do let me know in the comment section. And yeah, that's just a few of the flavors that I've done over the years, and like I said, you can make them look pretty on your trays and your plates, and you know, go op shopping and having a look and finding some beautiful little one-off pieces that are only going to cost you a couple of dollars. Anyway, my face is screaming at me and I need to go and rest. I will hopefully see you on the next one, and I look forward to it. All right, take care and bye for now. I also just wanted to quickly mention that if you are doing having a family get together, or you think that these finger sandwiches would go well for you know, a family occasion or something like that, I have a couple of other videos that I will link at the end here, and they'll be on the screen, but I'll also link them in the description. And one is my sausage rolls. I have shared that video, but it was a very long time ago now, and it's been a very popular video, and those that do make it absolutely love the recipe, and that's my sausage rolls. And the savouries, I've got savouries, I've got pizza scrolls, they all make great party food as well, so I will link those videos here for you to go and watch after this one. Thanks for joining me again. Bye.